Hello and welcome to Betfred. Well, it would have been the first Sunday of the World Snooker Championship. Over the next few days, we're going to look back at some golden moments of this fabulous tournament at the Crucible. And World Snooker tonight, as part of their series of Crucible Gold, are looking back at Stephen Hendry's maximum breaks in his career. He hit 11, but he hit 3 at the Crucible, including the last ever one in 2012. And 2012 was the year when Stephen Hendry decided to retire. And of course, the Betfred cameras were there.
I just didn't settle today at all. I was really nervous at the start and just didn't get going. And at one stage, I was just relieved to get a frame. I was thinking, I don't want my last match here to be 13-0.
You say you were nervous. Did that surprise you? Because you've just beaten the defending champion in style. Surprised that you felt edgy at the start?
Well, I was edgy in the start, and Higgins as well. I went 2-0 down. I was edgy in the first round against Bingham, but I scraped through that frame. So I haven't started well in any of my matches, and I mean, it just gets harder and harder. And Stephen played really well. He did a good job of me today. He punished me, heavily on all my mistakes.
I mean, you're well known in your golden years for dishing out that kind of punishment. It's a lonely place, though, isn't it, when things start to go from bad to worse?
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best place, yeah. But I'll miss it.
So you've just said you'll miss it. You just said your last match. Is this it then? Are you announcing your retirement?
Yeah, I'm officially retired now from tournament snooker. That's I made the decision about 3 months ago, and I didn't tell many people. I've only told 2 or 3 people, but this is me finished from tournament snooker.
Is that a difficult decision for you to make, given all the success you've had, to walk away from the sport that you've graced for so long?
It wasn't really, to be honest. It was quite an easy decision. There's a few reasons, which I'm not going to go into in detail, bore you with. But the schedule didn't help. The fact that I'm not playing the snooker I want to play didn't help. The fact that I don't enjoy practice doesn't help. I want to do other things. I've got a lot of commitments now in China, which I've signed up for, and I can't do both. I can't do that and play snooker because I would never be at home. So the time is right for me. Did
anything that happened here over the last few days make you think, well, maybe?
Not at all. If I'd have won it, it'd have been an even better way to go out. No, I'm delighted that I've made a maximum here. That's why I was, couldn't tell me. That's why I was more animated than normally when making it. It was just I was delighted to do it on my last appearance here.
You look very, very comfortable with that decision.
Well, I made it a while ago. It was not a spur of the moment thing. Obviously, I thought about it last year, but no, 2 or 3 months ago, I just decided enough was enough.
You've had so many great moments down the years here. Is there one that stands out for you as something that you'll never forget?
God, I've had so many memories here. It's hard to pinpoint special ones. Your first time here, my first win here. Obviously, the 7th world title, making maximums. I could write a book on the memories I've had here.
Is there any sense of you feeling like you could shed a tear as you say all this?
No, not really. No, I've you know what I've been like through years. I've never been the most emotional person, even when I win. So, yeah, it's sad that that I won't play here again. I love playing here, but no, it's a relief as much as anything.
And are you optimistic about the future of the game? Are you leaving it in good hands, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
What's been the greatest moment for you, Stephen? What do you look back on now and most proud of?
As I say, winning the 7th world title will always, being the youngest world champion, nobody's beaten that yet, and 7 world titles. It's I haven't got a lot of things to regret in my career. I think I've had a decent career. You like the obvious question. All right, cheers, thank you.
So Stephen Hendry, well, in the 90s, he was just Mr. Crucible, wasn't he? Winning 7 world titles. The first one came in 1990 when he was just 21 years of age. But let's hear from a man who knows what it's like to win the world title. He won it in 1985, of course, beating Steve Davis on the black ball It's Dennis Taylor. How does it feel to be world champion and to play your part in, let's be honest, the greatest ever final?
Well, you know, Steve and myself have been going around, and John Virgo's been with us. We've been doing shows in theatres where if we have a table, we sort of reenact the last shots. We play the best of three, but then we set the black up and reenact the shots that we played back then. And Steve's wonderful, the way he handles everything, and to listen to him chatting about it, because he didn't talk much about it for a couple of years, Steve. But we have some wonderful nights, sort of, and we both realize now that we were involved in a piece of snooker history. We didn't realize at the time, but 35 years on, and people still remember that one. So I was just lucky to have been involved in a piece of snooker history.
And it could have quite easily have gone either way, because certainly you got off to a poor start, didn't you, in the final?
Oh, it looked like it was all over. I remember the BBC sponsors thought this is going to be the worst final we've ever had. I was 7-0 down. I lost all 7 frames, lost the first in the evening, was 9-1 behind, but then won the last 6 frames of that first evening's play. And funny enough, most of the frames I won them with one visit, so I was playing really well. I wasn't doing anything wrong in the first session. Steve was just magnificent, as he was throughout the 80s. He dominated the game, Steve. So, it was an unbelievable climax to come back and to eventually win on that final black. You couldn't have wrote a script for that.
No, and what were you thinking when you were going down to that final black? Can you remember?
I didn't think I was going to get a chance, because I tried all sorts. I tried to double the black in the middle pocket. I tried to double the black from the bottom cushion into the corner pocket. I was going for all sorts of shots, but I missed the first proper chance. And when I missed it down into the green pocket, and it was coming back up towards me, I was leaning over the corner pocket up at the black spot area, and I thought I might fluke the black. And when I seen it wasn't going in, I went back to the seat. I thought that was it. And when I turned round, Steve had to cut the black in, and normally he would pop that maybe 90 times out of 100, but under the pressure. And when he talks about it, he said when he walked across to pop the black, he said his legs had gone, felt like somebody else's, and also his hands had gone as well. They felt like somebody else's arms and hands, and he overcut the black because under pressure you hit the shot too thick. And he overcompensated. And the one I had was much easier than the one he missed. But I took ages on the shot. And the relief when that black went in was just, it's hard to describe the feeling. I think, well, the first thing I did was raise the cue above my head. And then I started stamping the cue on the floor. And then, of course, I wagged my finger at my good friend Trevor East to say, I told you I'd do it in the end.
What's it like to wake up then the next day as world champion?
Mind you, I didn't get much sleep, because we went back to the hotel, and Riley's at the time, they had a party organised, and we joined in that party. My wife was there, my daughter Denise was there, and funny enough, it was the only time she'd been to the Crucible, which was quite ironic. And I don't think we got to bed till about 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I drove back to Blackburn, and my 2 sons were there with my mother-in-law, and I mean, the press was all parked up the drive up to the house. It was just surreal, really. And I always remember there was a big banner on the across the balcony. The 2 boys had written a big banner, and it just, because I was away for 18 days, and it said "Welcome home, Dad." It didn't mention world champion on it, which was a nice touch. But I mean, that changed my life, really. We still lived in the same house, but just the reaction of people to winning that title was, I remember being in London a few days later, and the taxi driver, they don't bother about much, but it had grabbed the nation's imagination so much. He stopped his taxi and called some of his friends, and they all come over and shook hands with me. Now, you'd never get that in London with black cab drivers, but yeah, it went on and on for, that year as world champion. There's no better feeling traveling around the world, being introduced as the current world champion. I probably didn't quite enjoy myself as much as Mark Williams did when he lifted the title against John Higgins a couple of years ago. I mean, Mark Williams has enjoyed winning a world championship more than anybody has ever done.
Yeah, great to hear from the 1985 world champion. We'll hear plenty more from Dennis Taylor over the next few days as well. Don't forget our exclusive interview with John Higgins on our Facebook and YouTube page as well. It's very, very good. John looking back at his 4 world titles, but nothing compared to Stephen Hendry, who won this famous trophy 7 times. And Stephen Hendry is featuring tonight on Crucible Gold on World Snooker's YouTube and Facebook channel. That's it for our wrap today. Please stay safe and stay in.